Hello and welcome, as I knock stuff over, to the 71st episode of Out of State DMing. I am your host, lluksblackheart. My co-hosts are running a wee bit late today, so here hopefully soon they'll be able to join us. Just like I talked about last episode, today we're going to be going over the individual spells themselves. So instead of just doing a brief thing like we were before, we're going into actual spells. Slightly rehash what level they are, or what schools of magic they belong to, the basis of them, and the actual description. And a big thing to remember is a lot of these things require you to think slightly outside the box to actually use more effectively, other than how straightforward a lot of these spells can be. And we're going to start off our big old list with Acid Fog. Acid Fog is a conjuration creation acid spell, capable of being cast by level 6 wizards and sorcerers and clerics with access to the water domain as a 7th level spell. Components are verbal, somatic, material / divine focus. Pretty much the divine focus is for the clerics. The casting time is one standard action, so just like with a lot of spells, one part of your turn is used casting a spell. Range is medium, which is 100 feet plus 10 feet per caster level, so you can be quite far away you can be quite far away to drop it. The affected area is a 20-foot radius that's also 20 feet high, and it's considered a spread, which means it will go around objects. Duration is 1 round per level. No saving throw, so it's great to get around those things. And no spell resistance, meaning we're starting off with a pretty effective spell because you can't make saving throws against it, so you have to be immune or highly resistant to acid effects. And there's no spell resistance, meaning it bypasses spell resistance. Acid Fog creates a billowing mass of misty vapor similar to that produced by a solid fog spell. In addition to slowing creatures down and obscuring sight, this spell's vapors are highly acidic. Each round on your turn, starting when you cast the spell, the fog deals 2d6 points of acid damage to each creature and object within it. Arcane material component, a pinch of dried powdered peas combined with powdered animal hoof. So when it says 2d6, a lot of people look at a decently high level spell. The 6 is decently high. It may not be the highest level spell, but it's still 7, 8, and 9. So you can probably say it's on the upper end of the mid scale. 2d6 to every single thing in there. And it specifically states creatures and objects. Meaning, the creatures standing there aren't the only thing taking 2d6. Their weapons, their armor, their magical items, everything technically is taking that damage. So it is a great way to erode equipment. Now, it means there's a chance you're not going to be able to get that equipment after you win the fight. But it does mean you can debuff the enemy by simply eating away at their gear. And it's all gear. Magical gear, a DM can probably say it's a little more tagged as magic. And depending on what's granting you your immunity and or your resistance to acid effects, depends on if it actually protects your gear or not. For instance, if you have some sort of template or racial feature that makes you immune to it, you're immune to it. Your equipment isn't. But if you have like a ring of minor or major acid resistance, the DM could easily go, okay, well, it's protecting you and your gear because, well, boom. If you don't have anything like that, it means all your mundane equipment is pretty much being destroyed. Because generally those don't have very much hit points, and you're lucky if they have any sort of hardness. So pretty much backpack, everything in it, normal clothes, it's pretty much being eaten by the fog because it affects everything within it. So you could do quite a bit of damage to it, but it also means if you cast it in a structure, the structure's taking damage. And because it creeps in and spreads into all nooks and crannies and stuff, you can technically bring down a building with it if it sits there long enough because it's going to erode everything. So it can be, I don't want this tower here anymore. This wizard is hiding somewhere up in it. We're just going to destroy the entire tower. If acid fog's there long enough and you roll good enough, you can bring down the bring it down, because even stone isn't immune to acid. It just normally has a hardness of 5 and a decent amount of hit points. So if you roll good enough consecutively, it's a matter of time. And because it's a 6th level wizard sorcerer spell, or sorcerer wizard spell, you can apply certain meta magic feats to it, like say maximize. So if you're capable of casting 9th level spells, you can maximize it. Therefore, it's doing 12 damage each turn, which means you're going to erode everything so much quicker. And because it bypasses spell resistance and saving throws, there's no, I'm a rogue with a high reflex, and I have this feature here that let me take half damage, and this here because I have this, so if I save, I take none. You can just look at him and go, no saving throw. Take 2d6. You can use Empowered to increase the damage by 50%. So you're doing at minimum 3 to at maximum 18. Or like extend, so you double the duration of it. Technically, if you have access to persistent, you can persist in it, which means it's now going to last 24 hours. So that's definitely going to bring it down. So there's several things to make this spell really effective. And it's partly remembering you have it and placement, like a good product placement. If you don't place it in the right spot, no one's going to care. But it's still a good spell, even though a lot of people are like, the monster or bad guys will just leave the zone and it's only doing 2d6 damage. They underestimate the usefulness of the spell, because I said this before, I'll say it again, not all good spells that do damage do a lot of damage. It's like one of the reasons why Fireball is probably one of the biggest damage spells that you're going to ever see anyone use, is because it doesn't just damage a person, it damages everyone in the affected zone. The difference is this lasts long enough. So if you're level 10, you're doing, level 10, if you're level 5, if something stays in there for those 5 turns, whether they want to or not, you're doing the same amount of damage a Fireball does. And that's 5, that's at level 5. At level 10, you're doing an overall significantly more damage than a Fireball, and that's without having to add stuff to it. It's also not that many. Acid is, because it's fire, cold, acid, electricity, then sonic when it comes to a lot of the different resistances out there. So the chance of it being resistant or immune to acid is not as likely as fire or cold. Mainly because a lot of people steer away from using non-fire or cold things for some stupid reason. That's pretty much it from the spell. If you have any more questions about Acid Fog, please leave a comment. Next, we have Acid Splash. This is a 0-level Sorcerer Wizard spell. Components. As I click the wrong button. Silly me. Components are verbal semantic, which pretty much is speaking and doing hand gestures. I got a message, but it's not telling me where's the message at. Oh, wrong thing. It is also a conjuration creation acid spell, just like Acid Fog. Casting time, standard action, range, close. So you have to be a lot closer than Acid Fog. So it's 25 feet plus 5 feet for 2 caster levels. Effect 1 missile of acid. Duration instantaneous. Saving throw none. Spell resistance none. You fire a small orb of acid that, excuse me, but at the target. You must succeed at a ranged touch attack to hit your target. The orb deals a die 3 points of acid damage. So it's not a very high damaging spell. Die 3. It's also a 0 level spell that does targeting. And this is one of the spells that a lot of people just don't take because they see the die 3 and you have to do a ranged touch attack and they just, no one wants to cast it. Despite the fact that it's still a really good spell. Especially when you get higher levels and you get access to meta magic feats. And because it's level 0, you can compound them all, like maximize and empowered. So you're doing technically 4 damage instead of 1 to 3. There's also spells that, well, not spells, but meta magic feats that then make it even more, like Fork, that you now get double target more than one person with it. It can either be the same person or 2 different people. There's just a bundle of other feats you can add to it and get away from it. So you get away with going, hey, instead of trying to get the stuff on this high level spell that I can't really get much on, so I have to extremely nitpick it, I can take all of this stuff, throw it on here, and now the spell's doing a lot more damage that people like seeing. But at the bare minimum, it's still a very good 0 level spell, since most casters get maybe 4 or 5 0 level spells, depending on what if you're a wizard or sorcerer. So you can prep it or spontaneously cast it a lot of times, and it's better than nothing. And I'm dead serious, it's better than nothing. But it's pretty much just a a ranged touch attack, take a tiny bit of damage, yay. If you have any questions about Acid Splash, please leave a comment. The next spell is Aid. This is an enchantment, compulsion, mind-affecting spell. It can be cast by 2nd level clerics and those who have access to 2nd level spells from the Luck and Good domains. Components: verbal, somatic, divine focus. Casting time, standard action. Range, touch, so you have to touch them. Target, living creature touched. Duration, 1 minute per caster level. Saving throw, none. Spell resistance, yes, harmless. Meaning if someone doesn't want you to cast the spell on them, they can technically go, no, I don't want that on me. And if they have a spell resistance, you have to beat the spell resistance. Even though it's one of the spells that, why wouldn't you want it to head on you? Because Aid grants the target a +1 morale bonus on attack rolls and saving throws against fear, plus a temporary hit points equal to a die 8 plus caster level to a maximum of a die 8 plus 10 temporary hit points at caster level 10. So even though it's a 2nd level spell, which you can say is a low level spell, being able to give someone at level 10 somewhere between 11 to 18 hit points is still really good. Also, additional +1 to hit never hurt anyone. So it's a good low level spell for helping people. You can even do it to yourself, so you can help keep them alive a little bit longer, and let them defeat the enemies a wee bit quicker. So, good spell. If you have any questions about Aid, please leave a comment. Next spell, Airwalk. This is a transmutation air. 4th level cleric druid spell, and those who have access to the air domain, 4th level. Components, verbal, somatic, divine focus. Casting time, standard action. Range, touch. Target, creature, gargantuan or smaller, touched, meaning there's a range limit. So you can't touch a Tarask and watch it airwalk. Duration is 10 minutes per level, so it lasts a decent long time. Saving throw, none. Spell resistance, yes. Harmless. The subject can tread on air as if walking on solid ground, moving upward and similar to walking up a hill. The maximum upward or downward angles possible is 45 degrees, at a rate equal to half their air walking speed. A strong wind, 21 plus miles an hour, can push the subject along or hold it back. At the end of its turn each round, the wind blows the airwalker 5 feet for every 5 miles per hour of wind speed. The creature can, at the DM's option, be subject to additional penalties in exceptional strong or turbulent winds, such as loss of control over movement or physical damage from being baffled about. Should the spell duration expire while the subject is still aloft, the magic fails slowly. The subject floats down 60 feet per round for a die 6 rounds. If it reaches the ground in the amount of time, it lands safely. If not, it falls the rest of the distance, taking a die 6 damage per 10 feet of fall. Since dispelling a spell effect ends it, the subject also descends in this way if the airwalk spell is dispelled, but not if it is negated by an anti-magic field. You can cast airwalk on a specially trained mount, so it can be ridden through the air. You can train a mount to move with the aid of airwalk. Counts as a trick. See page 74. With 1 week's work and a DC 25 handle animal check. So pretty much what this spell does, in essence, is it takes your base land movement and pretty much treats you as, when it comes to you being in the air, as if it were solid ground. Which pretty much means you now technically have a fly speed equal to your land speed. So you can do lots of shenanigans. You're still limited to a 45-degree angle. And if you're doing an angle, you're only moving at half speed. So it's like will be, because base speed is 30. It's 30 going like this, but if you're trying to go up or down, it's 15. So there are some minor restrictions, but you're treated as if it was solid ground. And it gives you 1 to 6 rounds of safety net if you're still up when this spell expires or gets dispelled. Not if it's been negated, like a Rod of Negation, anti-magic field, pretty much anything that technically negates it, you just fall. Dispelling triggers the other parts of the spell, so you don't have to worry about dying or anything, but you can still make it to the ground. And it is generally a good transportation spell, because you can ignore terrain penalties using it. You can get over bodies of water with it, gaps in the ground, all sorts of shenanigans you can avoid by walking over it. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward spell. If you have any questions about Airwalk, please leave a comment. The next spell is Alarm. I personally do love Alarm. It is an abjuration spell. It is a first level bard, ranger, sorcerer, and sorcerer spell. So it means pretty much multiple people can get it quite early on. Verbal, semantic, focus, define focus. Casting time, 1 standard action. Range, close. So 25 feet plus 5 feet per 2 levels. Radius, 20-foot radius. Mission centered on a point in place. So you pick a spot, boom, and it spreads out there. Duration, 2 hours per level. So it lasts a long time. So at cast level 4, it's an entire rest period at minimum. Saving throw, none. Spell resistance, none. Now we're going to go into the thick of the description for the spell. Alarm sounds a mental or audible alarm each time a creature of tiny or larger size enters the warded area or touches it. A creature that speaks the password determined by you at the point of casting spell does not set off the alarm. You decide at the time of casting whether the alarm will be mental or audible, which what that means is it just waking up you, or is it sounding an alarm that can wake up the entire party while also alerting the creature that it just triggered an alarm. It is technically up to you. And here's the details for mental alarm. A mental alarm alerts you and only you so long as you remain within 1 mile of the warded area. You note a single mental ping that wakes you from normal sleep but does not otherwise disrupt concentration. A silent spell has no effect on a mental alarm. Audible alarm. An audible alarm produces the sound of a handbell, and anyone within 60 feet of the warded area can hear it clearly. Reduce the distance by 10 feet for each interposing closed door, or by 20 feet for each substantial interposing wall. It quickly... in quiet conditions, the ringing can be heard faintly as far as 180 feet away. The sound lasts for 1 round. Creatures within silent spell cannot hear the ringing. So it pretty much means if someone casts silence on the zone because they don't want to be heard whether they know about the alarm or not, and you have it set to audible, no one's going to hear it because they're in the affected of a silent spell. But if you have it mental, you get woken up with a ping, regardless of a silent spell or not. Ethereal or astral creatures do not trigger the alarm. That's key, because if it's in a key, and technically up to DM's discretion, if this creature's on the material plane, technically they're there. But creatures that are technically ethereal or astral, such as ghosts, wraiths, shadows, they're technically not necessarily there. They're technically ethereal in nature, so therefore they wouldn't trigger the alarm. So it is limited on what auto bypasses the alarm. Alarm can be made permanent with the permanency spell. Arcane Focus, a tiny bell and a piece of very fine silver wire. One of the reasons why I love this spell is because, coming from a player, if you don't know the spell is there, you're going to trigger it, and I'm going to know. So it's kind of like nothing's getting close to me. As a DM, I more along like it because I get to mess with my players, because hey, you guys hear for this round a bell going off. What's that mean? Oh, someone triggered an alarm. When I like it when my players cast it, because it means during nighttime encounters, I don't have to stress the person on watch having a good spot and listen check, because an alarm's going to save them. And the amount of games where if an alarm spell was cast, the party would have been saved, or at least had the chance of actually being saved, because the alarm would have went, hey, monster. So it's really good to help keep your party alive and your players alive, or just mess with people. If you have any questions about alarm, please leave a message. Align weapon. Transmutation, see text. Second level cleric, verbal semantive, divine focus. Standard action, range touch, target weapon touched or 50 projectiles, all which must be in contact with each other at the time of the casting. Duration 1 minute per caster level. Saving throw, will negates a harmless object. Spell resistance, yes, harmless object. Which pretty much means if a person doesn't want their weapon or arrows to be under the effect of a spell, they could resist it. But it's also one of those, why? Doesn't really make sense. Align weapon makes a weapon good or evil or lawful or chaotic. Not all of them. Unlike some people may think. You pick one. Pick one. Because even though its word is and makes a weapon good, evil, lawful, or chaotic, as you choose, a weapon that is aligned can bypass the damage reduction of certain creatures, usually outsiders of the opposite alignment. This spell has no effect on weapons that already have the unalignment, such as a holy sword. You can't cast this spell on a natural weapon, such as an unarmed strike. When you make a weapon good, evil, lawful, or chaotic, the aligned weapon is good, evil, lawful, or chaotic spell, respectively. So what this does, if you fight, there's a lot of evil creatures, mainly outsiders, have a DR that you need an alignment to bypass. So there's, when it comes to demons, it's either law or good. When it's devils, chaotic or good. Mostly sometimes good. And there are some other creatures out there that require alignment, and this lets you do that. So it's a real easy way for a decent amount of time to go, oh, I don't care about your DR because it's bypassed by this alignment here, because of this person here. My weapons now has that alignment, so I don't care about your DR anymore. Suck it, hash.
Hey, I'm back.
Yay!
You got my text, right? Because I texted
Yes.
you on both Facebook Messenger and your phone.
Oh, I thought I replied.
You very well
I
could have. I was at church and that building is old, old, old. So
Well, I'll
my
double
phone
check
might
to
not have
make
gotten it
sure it
yet.
actually sent. As you can see, Bacon hasn't been able to get on yet, and I am just finishing up the spell Aligned Weapon.
Okay.
Just as at the side explain portions of it. There's Aligned Weapon. Somewhat rehash a bit. That way you can get your comments in on it. It's either a
Which is a weapon that's can aligned weapons can be good or evil in and of themselves, right?
Well, this is the spell Align Weapon. So when you cast it on a weapon touched or up to 50 projectiles, which all have to be touching there, you choose one of the 4 alignments, and that weapon or bundle of projectiles for 1 minute per caster level has that alignment. So if you want a weapon to be good, you can make it good. If you want it to be evil, evil. Chaotic, chaotic. Lawful, lawful. And it's used to bypass DRs of creatures of opposite alignment, which 9 out of 10 times is going to be an outsider. So, like, a lot of the demons and devils have a DR that can be bypassed by good. So being able to go, hey, that's now a good aligned weapon, will help out a lot. If a weapon already has unalignment, such as a holy sword, you can't cast align weapon on it.
Oh, okay.
So, like, a holy avenger is a holy sword, so you can't alter its alignment. You can't affect natural weapons such as an unarmed strike. And for the duration of the spell, it counts as unaligned object for the purpose of everything that affects it. So anything that could affect chaos would affect it if it's a chaotic weapon. It's not necessarily an overly used spell because a lot of people don't pay attention to the DRs until it's way too late, or they don't care. So it's not necessarily a commonly cast spell. But if anyone who watches this has any questions about Align Weapon, please leave a comment. And yes, LadyCelt, that last thing I just said about leaving a comment, I'm doing at the end of each spell, so that way if anyone sees this or is watching this, they can respectfully, why is that still up there? In retrospect to the thing, they can leave any questions there, so if I see the comment, I'll reply in future episodes.
See, I'm cold right now. I'm in my blanket fort, for lack of a better term.
Well, you can also see a very sleepy dog. We went for a walk earlier. I haven't taken his harness or anything off him because I'm trying to get him used to it, but yay.
Yeah, I noticed I think Ian took his dog out somewhere. Mine is a princess. She's not going outside when it's cold.
I know that feeling.
Well, let's put it this way. If I could make a dog bathroom in my house, like to use, she'd never go outside again, ever.
Yeah, but then I would look at you and go, okay, Richie Rich.
If you kind of know what to do, and then you have friends that owe you favors that know plumbing, it's not that expensive.
Well, you say that, but I'm still going to call you Richie Rich for having an indoor area for your dog to use the bathroom.
That is true.
That's a rich person thing.
So what's our next spell?
The next spell. The next spell has a lot of it. It kind of, it has like in its like maybe a third of this entire page is dedicated to the description itself, and that's the spell Alter Self. Transportation. Second level Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard spell. Components are verbal, semantic, casting time, standard action. Range, personal, aka you, not anyone else, you. Target, you. Duration, 1 minute per caster level. So it does last, well, not 1 minute, sorry, 10 minutes per caster level. So it does last a relatively long time. The description. You assume the form of a creature of the same type as your normal form, such as a humanoid or magical beast. The new form must be within one size category of your normal size. Maximum hit dice of the assumed form is equal to your caster level to a maximum of 5 at level 5. You can change into a member of your own kind or even into yourself. You retain your own ability scores, your class and level, hit points, alignment, base attack bonuses, base saving throw bonuses, all remain the same. You retain all supernatural and spell-like ability and attacks and qualities of your normal form, except from those requiring a body part that the new form does not have, such as a mouth for a breath weapon or eyes for a gaze attack. You keep all extraordinary special attacks and qualities derived from the class levels, such as a barbarian's rage ability, but you lose any from your normal form that are not derived from the class levels, such as a dragon's frightful presence ability. If the new form is capable of speech, you can communicate normally. You retain any spellcasting abilities you had in your original form, but the new form must be able to speak intelligibly. That is, speak a language, to use a verbal component, and must have limbs capable of fine manipulation to use somatic or material components. So depending on what you're turning into, depends on if you can still actually cast spells or not. You acquire the physical qualities of the new form while retaining your own mind. Physical qualities include natural size, mundane movement capacities such as burrowing, climbing, walking, swimming, or flight with wings to a maximum speed of 150 feet for flying or 60 feet for non-flying movement. Natural armor, natural weapons such as claws, bite, and so on. Racial skill bonuses, racial bonus feats, and any gross physical qualities presented in absence of wings, number of extremities, and so forth. A body with extra limbs does not allow you to make more attacks or more adventurous two-weapon attacks than normal. You do not gain the extraordinary special attacks or special abilities not noted above under physical qualities, such as dark vision, low light vision, blind sense, blind sight, fast healing, regeneration, scent, and so forth. You do not gain any supernatural special attacks, special qualities, or spell-like abilities of the new form. Your creature type and subtype, if any, remain the same regardless of your new form. You cannot take the form. You cannot take the form of any creature with a template, even if that template doesn't change the creature's type or subtype. Pretty much meaning, if you run into a half-dragon owlbear, you can't turn into a half-dragon owlbear. You can only turn into a owlbear. This half-dragon is
Okay. Boy, half dragon owlbear. That sounds like a dark night in the tavern for somebody.
That's a bad night for someone, especially because it's probably going to be a half green dragon. You can freely designate the new form's minor physical qualities such as hair color, hair texture, and skin color within the normal ranges for a creature of that kind. The new form's significant physical qualities such as height, weight, and gender are also under your control, but they must fall within the norms for the new form's kind. You are effectively disguised as an average member of that new form's race. If you use this spell to create a disguise, you get a plus 10 to your disguise check. When the changes occur, your equipment, if any, either remain worn or held by the new form, if it is capable of wearing or holding the item, or it melds into the new form and becomes non-functional. When you revert to your true form, any object previously held into the new form melded into it, reappears in the same location on your body as they previously occupied and are once again functional. Any new items you wore in the assumed form and can't wear in your normal form fall off and land at your feet. Any that you could wear in either form or carry on a body part common to both forms, mouth, hands, or the like, at the time of the reversion are still held in the same way. Any part of the body or piece of equipment that is separated from the whole reverts to its true form. All that verbiage, what it pretty much means means is if you're a normal sized person, let's say a human, you could technically turn into any other humanoid that it's you can assume the form of a creature of the same type as your normal form. So you can turn into any other type of humanoid as long as it's a humanoid. So you can look at like an elf, and you pretty much swap a bunch of the random traits. Like elves, when it comes to the physical traits, aren't necessarily the same as humans, so you kind of swap them. Or if you turn into a orc, well, your con and strength are going to go up. You don't affect your mentals. Your mind, which is your intelligence and wisdom, and charisma, does those count as mentals? Those all say the same. But you get to pretty much swap physical physiques. So you can literally go, I want everyone to think I'm an orc when we pass through this area because, well, there's orcs here. So I want to blend in with the orcs. So for at least 10 minutes per level, whether you're a bard or a sorcerer or a wizard, you can look like an orc. Or if you want to blend in for a little bit and make better deals at this dwarven merchant market, and there you know that they give better deals to dwarves. Well, for a short time period, or technically long, depending on how long you take, all yourself, you now look like a dwarf. You could, if it's
Now, is
technically,
this just purely?
it's a what?
Is it just purely looks, or is it like an illusion, or is it a change? Like you
It's an
actually
actual
physically change? Just
change. So
okay,
someone, so there is no, I passed my will save. Do I see through the? There's none of that. The only way for someone
okay,
to be able to go, that's not a dwarf, is if they have true seeing.
okay.
Because it's a transmutation spell. So you are technically physically that creature. That's why the physical physiques of a human get swapped out for a dwarf if you pick a dwarf. Or if you are a halfling and you want to sneak by a bunch of orcs, or let's say bugbears. You want to sneak by a bunch of bugbears and look like you belong. You cast this, you're now, instead of small size, you're medium size. This is within the effects of the spell, and you gain the any and all strength, dexterity, and constitution shifts that a bugbear would have. And if a bugbears come up and start like high-fiving you, or they slap you across the face, they're not going to go, oh my god, you're really a halfling. They're going to go, oh, you're a bugbear. I'm slapping a bugbear. Yay. So it's an actual physical change. And it's a great way to technically frame people. I say this because a majority of the people that I've witnessed as both a player and DM use this spell aren't using it to bypass monsters, try to get a little bit of sweet deal, or get in and out of a city that are having problems with certain other races or things like that. No, they use it to go, well, because I can technically look like a different member of my race. I don't like Bob here. Bob here's a human. I'm also a human. So I'm going to use alter self to look like Bob. I'm now going to go publicly commit murder. Get watched, run away, dismiss the spell, so now I don't look like Bob, and now Bob's going to get hunted down by the guards. I may be using Bob to protect the identity of the victim, but that's happened more than once in my 20 plus years of people using this spell to screw over other people. Primarily.
Wait a minute, you've been playing for 20 plus years?
Yeah, I started playing D&D back in the 90s.
Yeah, I know. It's just I was thinking about that, and seeing as I know, you can't have played for 20 years because that means I'm like really old now. So That just can't be.
At least you're not as old as the mountains. Okay, my mom didn't hear
Well,
that.
what's the alternative? Old or grave? So I think I'll take old.
Uh, ancient, mythical, something of legend, forgotten, lost treasures. Pick something that makes you sound ancient. Anything works. No, but yeah, like I said, I've primarily seen this spell be used for players screwing over other players because they think it's funny. They think it's hilarious. They go, "This game's getting a little too dull. I'm gonna go get this person arrested and charged with things." Isn't that the
Yeah,
paladin you're
that's
screwing over? Who cares? He's a paladin. He must suffer. It's like, what? Can we not say we didn't? Are you ruining my fun? No, I'm stopping you from ruining everyone's fun. Stop. There's a difference between being annoying and irritating and no one wanting to play with you. You're skirting that line. Because like I said, I've literally witnessed like, oh, this person's not here today. I'm gonna use ultra stealth and go around just blatantly stealing things. It's like, so you're, so he's gonna get a warrant out for him because they're gonna think he's stealing things. Yeah, why? Because he's not here, and I'm gonna make him suffer for not being here. It's like, can you not? Well, you don't know what my character's doing because we separated in the market to do things. I'm just going to duck around in an alley, use the spell, pop out, and just start stealing stuff. And I'm just also going to then
just
quickly get to him as me and put a bunch of stuff in his bag when he's not paying attention. Sleight of hand. Passed. Who has his character sheet? No one. So unless the DM rolls high, good luck. I sneak all this stuff inside his, so when they do arrest him, they're going to find all his stuff, and his character's going to be in jail.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
no.
that's evil. That's just fun.
Well, you say that, but then the person comes back, goes, I didn't do diddly squat. Argument ensues with the DM going,
Well,
well, if
that's
this is
the
what you're being
thing. It
charged
won't
with,
have
then you have no idea.
consequences.
Yeah. And it's like, what happened? Oh, this person here did this. Why are you ratting me out? It's like, in character, he has no idea. Out of character, I enjoy playing with them more than you. Why? Because they're not trying to screw over the party. Because now we're going to be stuck in this location longer trying to figure out how to not get us in more trouble while trying to get him out of trouble.
I think, yeah, I see Goose behind you. He just keeps occasionally just looking over there, like, "What are you doing there, Dad?"
Yeah. I see you. No. No, so it's like, it has this, Ultra Self does have its, uses, it does have its points, and hopefully people use it responsibly. Or you're going
Do
to
you have you met players?
That's why I said I hope they use it responsibly. I hope. I know it's not going to happen. It's one of the reasons why Parsley Happy Bacon's not here, because he would go, so you're telling me I could have done this and gotten technically rid of their characters by doing this stuff here while pretending to be them? Technically, yes.
Yes.
Say no more. It's like,
Yeah, I have yeah, on my Sunday game, we're kind of worked it out with one of the other players that they put, because I'm just a little gnome. So they put a bunch of bad guys, they cast sleep on them. And I just kind of come along and dispatch them, and because I'm kind of an ass like that.
yeah. But if you have any questions about the spell Alter Self, please leave a comment. The next spell is one of those spells that no one really casts because they don't care, is Analyze Dwarmir. It's a divination, 6th level bard, sorcerer, and wizard spell. Verbal semantic focus. Casting time is a standard action. Range close, which is 25 feet plus 5 feet per 2 levels. Target is object or creature per caster level. Touched. Well, not touched, but in the affected area. Duration 1 round per level. Saving throw none will negates. See text. Spell resistance? No. Description. You discern all spells and magical properties present in a number of creatures or objects each round. You may examine a single creature or object that you can see as a free action. In the case of a magical item, you learn its functions, how to activate its functions, if appropriate, and how many charges are left, if it uses charges. In the case of an object or creature with active spells cast upon them, you learn each spell, its effect, and its caster level. An attended object may attempt a will save to resist this effect if its holder so desires. If the save succeeds, you learn nothing about the object except that you can discern by looking at it. An object that makes a saving throw cannot be affected by another Analyze Dwarmir with mere spell within 24 hours. This spell does not function when used on an artifact. So if you cast it on an item, you're pretty sure it's an artifact, and an artifact break. That's definitely a magical staff I cast. Auto fail. It either passes saving throw or it's an artifact. He didn't roll a die. It's an artifact. Focus. A tiny lens of ruby or sapphire set in a small golden loop. The gemstone must be worth at least 1,500 gold pieces. So, that's an expensive focus. Now, you don't have to constantly replace it because it's a focus, not a material component. Therefore, it's not actually consumed by the spell. It's used to do it. This spell is better than Identify. This Identify has all sorts of other roles and stuff to it, because this goes, hey, I'm using the spell. What's up with this staff here? Oh, here's it. It's a Staff of Fire. It has 10 charges left. Here's the 3 spells it can cast, which is like Wall Fire, Burning Hands, and Fireball. It's a 7th level caster. You get all that information. Or if it's like, hey, what's this ring do? Well, it's a Ring of Protection +5. You get +5 to your deflection bonus for wearing it. If you cast it on a creature and they fail the saving throw, you get to know what spells are currently active on them, what spells they're capable of utilizing if they can utilize spells. So it's kind of like, what buffs does he have? Analyze Dwarmir. It is a very good identification spell for several reasons. In the long run, it saves you countless gold pieces, because the Identify spell itself costs 100 gold pieces per casting. So one casting of this with the spell focus is technically equivalent to 15 castings of that, but as long as you don't lose the focus, you're golden. You don't have to buy anything else. So it pays for itself in the long run. And it's a automatic, I know what's there. And because it's pretty much one object or creature per level, and the higher level your caster is, which is a 6th level spell, so you're probably going to be like 12th level or something like that to cast it, you can technically identify up to 12 objects, which is for one casting of a single spell, you can get the equivalent of 12 castings of Identify. And if you get higher level, at, let's say level 15, this one casting does 15, the effective of 15 castings of this spell here. And since you can cast this spell a lot more times. No matter what, you're saving money. While you're spending the money yourself for Identify or going to a shop to Identify, you're saving money in the long run. So it's
Right.
really, really good. The problem is getting people to use this spell because they just go, I'll just use Identify. I'll just use Identify. It's lower level. I'll just use Identify. When it's like, but this spell is a lot better than that. And one casting, you can effectively get more objects done. It's just a better spell. But people look at the price tag for the focus and assume it's for every single casting, and or they just go, I'm not spending 1,500 to cast a spell once when I can spend 300 to just have someone identify these 3 items. It's like multiple uses. It gets real silly real quick. So when I say there's players out there that don't actually think, because they're more about instant gratification, instant nows, versus long-term success, this is one of the spells that people sleep on, as what some of the newer kids would say. These are, again, they look at the price tag and they don't think, and they're forgetting that it works on creatures too. It's just, it gets a wee bit tiresome, really bit quick. If you have any questions about Analyzed Vermeer, please leave a comment. And because of the time we have left, we're not going to go over the next spell. I'm going to do a brief recapping of the spells that we did cover this episode. So if my co-host may or may not have any questions about them, or as a refresher to those who are watching and or see this, you can have it right there. We covered Acid Fog, which is an AoE decent lasting damage spell. Acid Splash, level 0 weak damage spell, but still good. Aid, which is good at giving temporary hit points. Airwalk, which literally lets you walk on ground. Were you about ready to ask something?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. No, I just heard noise and went, stop. I would say Airwalk.
Oh, no, my shoe fell on the floor.
Yeah, it lets you treat air as if it was ground, so you can walk on it, so your land speed becomes your fly speed. Alarm, which I'll say again, one of my favorite spells. Just as long as the creature is tiny or larger, you can go off. And extremely long lasting, 2 hours per caster level. And that's a first
Ooh,
level spell.
nice.
It's also a first level spell too. So it's like no matter what, starts at 2 hours. By the time you get to 4th level, it's an entire rest period of 8 hours. Any level after that, it's just long there. As long as you're within a mile of it, you can tell if it's gone off or not. So you technically don't even have to stay within it. So it's still really good. We went over Align Weapon for making your weapons alignment shift for getting by DRs. Can be helpful. Alter Self, which is the personal ability to mimic other creatures of your same type, which can be useful if used appropriately. And then Analyzed Vermeer, which is really good at just saving long-term money on identifying items. So we may not have gotten to a crap ton of spells today. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 spells. We still covered several good ones. And like I said before, as if you think outside the box, you can probably get away with doing a little bit more of these spells if a DM is willing to work with you. But these are still really good spells. And as a reminder, if you have any questions or comments about these spells, feel free to leave a comment. I will address them in a future episode. Is there any is there any particular information you, LadyCelt, would like to add?
Well, not really. It's just read the spells,
Yeah,
know the spells is my big thing, because sometimes you'll think a spell does something, but there's just like a monkey's paw thing that makes it something you don't want to use.
yeah, yeah. A line weapon's probably one of those, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of people just decide to throw it away. Is they think that it gets the magical enhancement of alignment because a holy weapon does 2d6 extra damage against evil creatures. If you cast a line weapon and make it good, you don't get that extra damage. It only works for DR. And there's a lot of people that confuse that. So it's simple. Read the spell. It tells you what it does. It makes it this alignment so you can bypass DRs that need that to bypass it. That's it. No more, no less. It's just to counter DRs. And that makes a lot of people just not cast the spell.
Okay.
When we get to H's, there's a spell there that I personally love because it's stupid broken, but we can save that for when we get to H's. Dun dun dun! But on that note, we will be ending the episode. Yeah, now you show up,
Okay.
Saint, at the end of the episode. You're late. Yeah, you do an A with a lot of W's. Making sure everyone knows you're late. By like an hour, man. An hour.
Okay, Lux, I will see you next
Yeah.
week.
See you next week. Take care. Those watching and see this, remember to like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.